Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio. Elevate your franchise with Franchise Now. We tell your brand story on our radio podcast and boost it with powerful content marketing strategies. From blogs and videos to infographics and more, we enhance your brand's SEO and online visibility. Let Franchise Now help your franchise stand out in a crowded market. Visit us today and learn more to start your journey for greater visibility and success. And now, here's your host.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Franchise Marketing Radio, where we spotlight the people behind the brands transforming local communities through franchising. I'm your host, Rob Ganley, and today we are truly have an inspiring guest joining us. We're excited to welcome Caty Witt, a dynamic multi-unit franchise owner with PostNet. Caty brings a powerful story about how franchising can be more than just business ownership. Through her locations in California and now Arizona, she has created a life of purpose, balance, and deep community impact. From organizing heartfelt holiday events for children in foster care to building authentic relationships in every community she serves, Caty's story is a masterclass in leading with the heart while growing a thriving franchise business. I really like that intro. Welcome to the show, Caty.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Very powerful. But listen, that was a lot to say, but a lot of impact there. But I'd love to learn more about, what led to this? How did you become a business owner? How did you get involved with franchising, PostNet, but then leading you into this idea of becoming a multi-unit business owner?
Well, since I was younger, I really knew that I wanted to, have my own business. I really wanted that work-life balance. I have 2 young kids, didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom, but didn't want to be, always gone from them and their school activities and things. So really wanted to find something that gave me that work-life balance. I actually started when I was all the way through high school and young adult. I worked for another franchise in the shipping industry, and I worked close with that owner. And so I really got to see behind the scenes of what she did and how that worked. It was for the UPS store actually. And so I got to work close with her and see that. And throughout that whole time, I was always looking for the right opportunity to get into business ownership. And I did get to see a bit of that franchise and how that worked, being a franchise versus, independent owner. And then I'd been looking for years really. And PostNet actually just came for sale in our area. And I was like, let's just take a look at it. So I don't know. I just feel like it was meant to be because everything just fell into place. And that's how we got our first location in Bakersfield, California. So started there with the one location, and I don't know, it was meant to be, like I said, because everything just fell into place really easily for that. So,
well, you're making it sound way too easy, way too easy. But I asked him to do.
It was meant to be because everything we just looked at, it was for sale. I'd been looking for a long time, looked at a lot of different businesses, but a lot of the other businesses I had no experience in. But I had been working for a UPS store for about 5 or 6 years at that point, so I was really familiar with the PostNet industry.
Yeah. So tell me about that. What was it about PostNet that was unique? And, being that you did have experience with another brand, and I think you said FedEx and UPS. Did I get that right? But you had some good exposure to the big boys and how they do it. But what was it about PostNet that kind of said, wow, I like what they do. This looks like a pretty cool opportunity.
PostNet really felt just like family even with the corporate level. It wasn't so corporate and transactional. They really cared about their franchisees, and also PostNet's services they offer. It's a lot broader services if you were to go strictly with a FedEx, UPS. So you really feel like you can service your customers even more than, strictly at a UPS store or something like that.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about, so you said it felt easy to you. I think a lot of that has to do with what you're kind of saying, the way you're saying, look, I just felt right. It was in alignment with what you'd been doing in the past, and you really it resonated with you, and it just flowed from there. And I think there's an important point to that. Like, yes, you got to look at all the details and, look at the business side and meet all the folks and, and do your due diligence. But I think that's something important to say, because I know there's challenges. I know you work through them, but it's important when you have that feeling like, yeah, this feels right. And it kind of aligned with what you had been experiencing prior. So I mean, that's an important thing. I'm glad it's been running smoothly for you. But tell me more about the community involvement and more in particular, because I'm a father too. I've have two, a beautiful son and daughter. So it's kind of cool. But like, I love kids, and obviously when I raised my kids are pretty young adults, but, raising them, it was always so important. Anybody involved with my kids in any possible way always made me feel really good. And it was just very important. So like, the idea that you have a heart for kids is interesting to me. And just wondering how that all came to be with PostNet, how you're using the business side and what does it mean to you personally as well? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my kids right now, they're 8 and 9, so they were probably 4 and 5 maybe around the time we got into PostNet. And I mean, I'll contribute it all to my mom. She's always been very giving and in the community just herself. And she was involved with a local foster agency at the time, just volunteering and doing things with the kids. And at that time also, I got into foster care. Not I got into foster care, but I became a foster parent at the same time that we had just taken on the PostNets. So I just love helping kids that are less fortunate than us. And so my mom, through the foster agency that she was volunteering with, we reached out as PostNet and was like, how can we help? What do you guys need? So we set up a lot of events to do with them, mostly like with holidays, birthdays, things like that. We donate what we can, but we like to get the community involved. One example, at Christmas time, we set up a big tree at our store, and we have these little tags, and they have actual kids that are in the foster system for Christmas. We'll have just their age and their gender. And we advertise to the community, come in, pick a tag off our tree, and donate. And we get so much donations from our community for that, so it's more than just, as an individual that I could do if it was just me trying to get people to donate or just me donating, but getting everybody. We have thousands of people walk through our store every day. So getting that foot traffic and getting more awareness and donations for them has been really fun, and getting my kids involved. We do events with the foster agency. So bringing my kids down there to pass out gifts and kind of showing them that.
Oh, that's really cool. I would say, like, what you're saying is really interesting from a business standpoint, right? And of course, the purpose is much greater and better, but I just think it works so great for business. And it's like, I wish more businesses, and I'm saying this because I wish every business took that chance, because you have a local platform, you have a way, and people love to give. Like, whenever I go anywhere to a local business or wherever I might frequent here locally, I love when they give me that opportunity, because for me, I don't, and look, I could certainly, we all could do more, but basically when it's that easy, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, do you want to sponsor a kid, or do you want to give this, or do you want to buy a lunch for someone, or do you want to, and it's just like, sure, why not? I'm just, swipe the card. You do it. And so, but that's just such a great way. And I just think, people remember your business because of that. And it just brings a different dimension to your business. And I think that probably leaves a big impact. Do you feel that way too? Like you'd said it probably, I mean, I'm sure your regular customers appreciate those types of things. And maybe some have been with you a while, but do you feel like that's really made an impact on your actual business as well? Those types of things?
Yeah, definitely. My regular customers, obviously, because we have mailboxes at our store. So we have customers that we see daily coming in, checking their mail, and they've let us know how much they love those kind of things. And then also we do advertise the tree and other things we do at Christmas time. And so we have people that have never even heard of PostNet just coming in just to do that. And while they're there, we get to talk with them and let them know our other services and what we do and other events that they could be a part of to help out with the foster agency.
Yeah. Now, does this impact some of your business relationships too? I mean, do you get involved with other business owners on certain things, or how does that Does that ever come up? Like you want to partner with other businesses to kind of get more momentum in a certain area, or do you do that too? Or
yeah, we recently in my networking group, I think it was just this last year, we also do a school supply drive with the foster agency to get school supplies for the kids. And when I let my networking group know about it, so many of them were so excited. It's all local business owners, and they donated so much to us, and we were so grateful. So it was great to work with other businesses that could help us out and make the impact even more.
Yeah. So, well, tell me a little, let me shift gears slightly. So I know you have multiple units and, or I should say businesses. We're so used to saying units, right? Multiple businesses. But basically tell me a little bit about Arizona, because that you were in Bakersfield, you're in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Which, it's kind of not too far away in terms of geographically and all that. But what was unique about Arizona, and what did you kind of learn rolling those new businesses out in the Arizona market?
We were looking to expand, but there wasn't a lot in California near us at all. So, whether it's California's a big state, so if could be just as far as Arizona in California. So we were like, we don't have to be strictly to California. My husband, for work, he works about half the year in Arizona. So we were like, let's check out Arizona. And just at the time, another owner reached out to me, and she was looking to retire, and she had 2 stores there that were very similar to my stores, because PostNet offers so many services that one store could be completely different from another store in their main services So this owner reached out to me looking to retire, and her stores were really similar to mine, just in how they're ran and the services offered. So we're already there. I go travel with my husband there a good part of the year. So it just kind of, again, it just was like meant to be. I was like, let's do it. So it was easy to kind of transition to that. Yeah.
Do you have aspirations to do even more? Or is it something where you're thinking, yeah, we would just love to have a lot of these stores? Or is it that was just an opportunistic scenario? But do you see yourself expanding even further, or how does that look for you?
Yeah, I'm open to it.
I love it.
Every time we've been, it's like we haven't even really been looking. We're kind of just open to the idea, and then each store or each center just kind of like falls into our lap almost. It's like meant to be.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's the right way to approach it, is to be open and paying attention to those opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what you said earlier, though. You were mentioning that, all these stores are different. Can you give the audience a little idea of a day in the life of what, maybe just a broader view too? Like you said, there's a lot of services. Maybe your store's sort of this version, but tell me a little bit about your version and then the broader sense of what PostNets are like.
I think the main 2 categories that would kind of differentiate most PostNets is being like really print heavy, like a print shop, versus being really shipping heavy and being more like a post office, UPS store experience. So our stores in California and Arizona are more shipping heavy. And I think that would probably just depend on the area that the store is in. If there's not a lot of shipping options around them, if I know in our Arizona stores, the closest post office is really far away. So that contributes to our shipping. But I do know some stores are extremely print heavy, and they do hardly no shipping. So that was where I felt like those stores were a good match for us, because if we went to a really print heavy store, that's not really my expertise. So
yeah. You could probably make that decision, right? If you wanted to zero in, and there's resource to do that. But I could see where it's a different business model, right? It could be a different approach. So cool. All right, I get it. Yeah, it's pretty clear. So with you've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but like with the idea of owning a business, and I know you said earlier you really always wanted to work for yourself. You got your kids, you want to be in their life. Tell me about that balance, though. Obviously, a lot of people have that thought about business ownership. And I know many business owners work really hard. They may love what they do, but they work really hard. And sometimes it does take you away from your family. So how have you, ensured that you keep that work-life balance? And what are some of the features of your business model that you feel like helped with that?
For one, a lot of times my kids are down at the store. A lot of my customers recognize my kids. They've got PostNet shirts, and the customers just love that.
Yeah.
So they're in the store a lot, and they can help out in the store. I mean, I guess if you were to go into like, I don't know, maybe like a fast food or some other type of franchise, I don't know how much an 8-year-old could jump in and help and do things. But at PostNet, you know, they're sorting mail, they're putting stamps on envelopes. So they love to come help out when they can, and get paid, you know, buy them something after, buy them a little treat. And then also, you know, just being able to make your own schedule as an entrepreneur or business owner. You know, sometimes I'm working late after they go to bed, but if it was like if I was just to go to a typical office 9-to-5 job, that would pull me away from them all day. But, you know, during the day, I'm able to be there for them, set my own schedule, I guess, and go to their school events, do their field trips, all that kind of stuff. But it does, you know, it's a give and take, especially now with the Arizona stores. I have to go there a lot. So it's just kind of setting your own schedule and working around their schedule now.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you feel like the impact on them, like I feel like what you just described is kind of cool for kids to kind of go through. I feel like the idea of them learning about running a business early in life is probably makes it way more natural to just do it later, or, you know, because I know a lot of times the idea of business ownership can be positioned as scary or risky, right? But do you think that has been a good impact for them? Do you like that this is going on right now as they get raised and they're, you know, seeing you do this with your husband? And do you think it's going to impact them to be entrepreneurs, or what do you think will happen?
Yeah, probably more my daughter. She's really into it. She loves it. She says that she's the boss. I think I feel like it just depends on, you know, your own personality. I don't feel like my son, he likes to come down to the store and help out here and there, but I don't really see him doing that. But I think my daughter definitely, she's all about it.
That's cool. That's good. That's good. Yeah, she's got that personality already, ready to lead. Don't deny that. Don't deny that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good. That's really cool. So tell me, you know, we like to talk about marketing on Franchise Marketing Radio, but tell me a little bit about, let's start with like when you first started, like, and I'm sure you didn't necessarily have a background in marketing specifically, you know, other than maybe what you learned from working with other businesses, but what kind of things did you have to focus on that first year related to marketing, but from the grand opening all the way through, and sort of what are those staples? I know I'll just say one of them was community involvement. You know, we just talked about, and that can also affect your ability to interact with other businesses, which also is a good thing. But I'm sure there's some other staples that you want to make sure you're doing. We know about Google, we know about Facebook and social media and things. But tell us a little bit about, like, in the beginning, how you launched, and then, you know, ongoing, what kinds of marketing is good for your model and your situation?
I think it would definitely be specific to your area. Because one thing that worked for us, we just kind of looked at different options and what was cost effective, being like new into business. And we did start with radio ads. Radio ads worked well for us in our market. I know I've heard some other owners didn't really feel like that was good for their market, but we did radio ads. I did jump into social media, and that has been really good for our business. It's such a, you know, you can spend money on advertising with social media, but you can also just post and try and get your message out there. And so it can be a free, you know, method of advertising. And then definitely the community involvement. That was just our biggest one, I think. Just getting our name out there and working with the community, trying to network with other businesses. Because the good thing about PostNet is, like, a primary customer of ours is businesses, you know? So just marketing with other businesses, they're also customers for us as well. Yeah,
no, exactly. But in terms of the radio, I'm just interested by that. Yeah. So, like, what was the approach like, and do you still do it? Is it something you just always kind of run? And how do you leverage it? Is it like different times of the year? Is it sort of like you try to do promotion? Is it awareness? Like, what are the sort of some of the tactics that you approach using radio?
It was more, in the beginning, it was more about brand awareness, because I was really surprised. Even before I purchased PostNet, I knew what PostNet was, but I was really surprised of how many people had never heard of PostNet, because we did have a few locations in our town. So a lot of people didn't even know what PostNet was or what we did. So it was more about brand awareness. We started our ads just kind of advertising who we are and what we do. And then I don't think we really ran any like specials or anything through radio ads. But the one thing that we did do was the Christmas tree for the foster kids, the tags on the tree, we advertised that. And so we had a lot of people coming in and they were letting us know that they did hear it on the radio. And so that was one way that we knew people were hearing our ads and listening. And so just through that, we had a lot of people coming in that had never heard of PostNet, but they had heard that ad and were coming in strictly for that. So we just recently stopped our radio ads because we were switching. It's kind of, I guess, it's not really new, but we'd switched to the Google ads to try that out. But we ran radio ads for quite a few years, and we probably will switch back at Christmas because we do like to advertise the tree and get that message out there.
Yeah, I think it's a great combo, right?
Yeah.
The event plus the local awareness. But tell me a little bit about Google. All right. So I know a lot about Google, but like, from your perspective, I mean, it seems like one of those services, right? That you would just Google the phrase, a handful of phrases, like I need a mailbox, I need a business address, different things you work with. But is there a particular, I mean, it sounds like you're just getting started, but what is sort of the approach you use? Is it, again, more about awareness, or do you try to use some kind of special offer to get people enticed, or you educate? How do you approach it?
It's really new to us, actually. So PostNet headquarters rolled out like a program to help all the franchisees get involved in Google, because a lot of us don't know anything about it, the Google AdWords. So they're kind of helping us out with that. From my understanding, right now we're just working on more brand awareness and shipping mainly. Just directing customers our way for that. And then once they're in the door, it's our job to, let them know all of the services we offer.
Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about just when you said shipping, it made me think, and I know that's one of your, the focus of your shops, but like, tell me about, shipping sounds like that would be one of the main cash streams, just because people need to do it. Like certain businesses do it all the time. Is that sort of the deal? And then when you get a client, it's really about getting that client and retaining that client, probably, right? So the better you do that, the better things can grow. Am I right about that in terms of the business model and things?
Yeah. So a lot of our customers are business customers coming in and shipping. But also it's a lot of just one-time shipment. I mean, they are reoccurring just as needed, someone shipping a birthday gift to their son across the country. But that's where once they come in, we try and give them, best service as possible, and to get them back next time they have to ship to their son for his birthday next year. So we've got our reoccurring customers that come in weekly or daily, the more business side customers. And then we've got our customers that we just see here and there once every few months or every year to do their random shipments. But that's where I feel like PostNet, because we offer UPS, FedEx, and post office, we can give our customers a lot of people, they don't know which is better, UPS, FedEx. So we can kind of give you the different pros and cons of each, price points, and see, we just have a lot more to offer for that.
That's cool. Yeah. I would like that. Just the way I think and buy. I would love to be able to offer that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's absolutely no argument, right? It's like, I give you anything you want. I'll just do it for you. I do it through here. Yeah. Right. So that's really powerful, actually. I didn't know a lot about it, but that's a powerful point to make for any PostNet franchisee and or person interested. But so tell me a little bit about the operational side of things. Like, obviously, I know it sounds like Arizona is just getting going. I mean, but tell me about, like, what are you doing operationally that makes it you capable to handle multiple locations? What have you learned? Like, now I got 4. Is it 4? I don't know if you said 4 locations, right? So instead of 1, you have 4. So, like, what have you learned about now you have 4 to manage? What operationally have you done or have you learned to make this, and again, work-life balance, right? You're still, it's not like you just 4X your time, right? So we only have, but anyway, what did you learn about efficiencies and operations and things?
It was a big adjustment, I guess I would say, because we went with the first center that we purchased. I was actually in there all day, every day, Monday through Saturday, open to close. So it was once we got our second center, I had to kind of split my time between the two, but I was still, at the counter helping the customers. But I just had to kind of split my time there. And then up until recently, once we switched to got our third and fourth center in Arizona, I can't be at 4 centers. I can't visit even 2 a day because I've got double the workload going on with the Arizona store. So it's been a struggle to step back from being, right there at the counter, seeing the customers, helping the customers. But somebody told me, one of the other PostNet owners or HQ people told me, you have to work on your business, not in your business. So now I've stepped back and I'm trying to work on the business, do the marketing side, getting our name out there, doing all that as opposed to in the business. So just had to step back, having people you can trust. My managers at all my locations are amazing, and they're doing that side that I was doing in the beginning, being at the front counter, greeting all the customers. They're doing that side for me, and I have to step back and work on the business now.
Well, what you're describing is the main thing. I mean, about growing businesses. All business owners go through this because obviously, as you scale a business, and we know, like even PostNet's a massive. I mean, compared to maybe when they first, were launched back in the day. But my point is that things grow, business leaders have to step back. But I think the thing though about that is you still care, and you have to. Like you just said it. I have managers, and you have to instill in them part of you. I would guess you've thought of this, right? Like I want them to have a standard that they're following. So tell me a little bit about how you approach training and how you've developed some of these relationships so that you feel as comfortable as it could be without it being you. But what are some of the things that you've worked on to make sure they understand what you expect and how to deliver your quality of service?
It's all just about, I want every customer that comes in, whether they buy one single stamp or whether they come in, we have customers that spend thousands of dollars in one transaction. It's like, I just instill in them, every customer is as important to us. And just giving those customers that level of service, no matter what they're spending. So it's hard. I don't like to hire a manager right off the bat as you're the manager. I like to start them from the bottom, and see their work ethic and how they treat our customers and build it up from there. And it can take a while, you just got to see who you can trust, and it's a long, hard process, but we're at a really good point right now. My stores are really taken care of when I'm not there. So, but it was a process.
Yeah, of course. Right. You got to do a little correction and then you learn a little bit more about how you should communicate and then you hire and recruit differently. And it just, but that's a different focus because now you are moving away, working on the business, and that allows you to do more and still take care of the little ones, right? And have the balance. So, I mean, it is a constant evolution. And even your stores themselves can grow, right? You can go from a smaller store to a much bigger store in terms of production. And so no matter what, you're always evolving and always scaling and changing. So that's pretty amazing. Do you have any, I'm just curious about the Christmas tree stuff and all that. Any other thoughts or ideas for the kids that you've thought about or that you might try to do? Anything on your radar with doing giving back to community events or any other good ideas you've heard about from some of your partners?
There's a lady here in our town. She does, it was pretty much just her. It wasn't even, a big thing. She was just, she had reached out to, the Department of Human Services and was able to get lists of their birthdays and was doing birthday gifts. That wasn't through the foster agency that I worked with. That was just one lady here in town. And I was able to get in touch with her. I loved that idea. Because it wasn't even just birthday gifts. It was actually getting the supplies to throw them a party for their birthdays. So I kind of been working with her and we're going to try and build that up. And I was going to bring it to the foster agency because the foster agency that I work with, they don't do anything with the birthdays right now. They mostly do the holiday events and things. So working on kind of scaling that up. I want all the foster kids to, they all deserve to have a birthday. And although some of the foster parents do their best, they're struggling too. And they don't have sometimes the time or the money to do the party side of it. So it's not just about buying them a gift. It's giving them, making sure their day is special. So working on building that up right now.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, and I know that, like I said, that sort of approach is just, to me, the law of sowing and reaping. I just feel like it's an indirect way to let it flow, because it's just such a good-hearted thing. So good for you, and keep doing it. And your demeanor and your approach is really calm and cool. I'm sure it's not always that way internally, but you come off that way. So, but I think that's the choice. You can make that choice every day, right? No matter what you're dealing with, you got to make that choice to be that way. So that's cool. So tell me, I wanted to kind of, and this is one of the questions we started to kind of ask towards the end of the conversation. I just really wanted to know what if you had advice for someone like you. And I wonder, being a woman in business, right? I know we celebrate women in business, and you're obviously very accomplished in a very short period of time, but if there's someone like you, what would your advice be? I mean, a lot of people come from the outside. They've had jobs their whole life. They're not sure about business. They're not sure. Of course, you shouldn't do that, or be careful of that. And of course, if you've got children and you're trying to do a balance, you're worried about that probably. What advice would you give someone that's on the fence, maybe thinking about something similar to what you did? What would you say to them? What is one of the sort of key things that you think would inspire them?
Couple things I feel like, at least for me, worked out was to get into something that you're really familiar with. I don't know if I could have jumped into something completely unfamiliar, like a restaurant or fast food. I don't know anything about that. So it was really just flowed easy to go into something that you have a lot of experience with, or at least if you're going to jump into something that you don't know anything about, research and get that knowledge ahead of time. But that's also where the franchise can really help you out, is if you're not familiar with that area, getting into a franchise versus something independent, because the franchise is there to help you and back you up and give you a lot of advice and knowledge. I guess second thing would be not just getting into it for money. Some people just think you're a business owner, you're rich, but the person that I had purchased my first location from was in it for money, and they were struggling because all they were thinking about was just money and how to get rich and how to make more money every day. And I feel like I came into it with a different mindset of just doing this for me, doing this for my family, doing this for the community, and, reaping what you sow. So I didn't go in there just trying to price gouge all of our customers, and we ended up making more money, not doing it, not just thinking about money. Yeah. So I think not getting into it strictly for money. We got into it so that I could have more time with my kids and help the community. And, I think it turns out that way.
I love that. No, I feel like maybe I've had to learn it over a lot of years, but I think, it is about that. It just does, you will get burnout. I mean, you will not be your best self, and you won't be your best business if that is the focus, right? Of course, you have to focus on best practices and being a response. No one said that. But it is about a mindset every day. It's where your heart really is, right? You want to run the business well because you want to be there for your kids and your customers. So that's always there, but it's like, you're not like trying to grind it with the numbers and always worried about margins and driving, it's just the wrong focus in your mind. Right. So no, that's really cool. Well, there you're living proof that it works that way. And I agree with you. I think it works that way. I've been on both sides of that, and I've gotten burnout in things. And by the way, even if money is coming in, it still don't make you happy. That's the thing. Like it never, there's right. If you make it your focus, it starts to own you. That's the key. It's something that it's a great resource, and it can be a great blessing to people, but it can't be something that you over focus on. So that's a good advice. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So, could you share with the audience, this the best way? I mean, for those that might be nearby, why don't we talk about where you are? I know it's kind of, you are spread out more than you were, but small dots in a big country. But why don't we share where you are and say hi to the audience if they happen to be in your markets, and how would they get a hold of you?
So we've got our 2 locations in Bakersfield, California, Central California, and then we've got 2 locations in Buckeye, Arizona. We've got Instagram and Facebook for both of our pages. Or we've got one Instagram, it's just at PostNet Bakersfield, and then one Instagram at PostNet Buckeye. We've got our websites. It's our store numbers, postnet.com/CA135, postnet.com/CA187. That's our California stores. And then our 2 Arizonas are AZ138 and AZ157.
Very cool. Very cool. And so I just really made me think of something right there when you said stuff about Instagram and stuff. What you had said earlier, we just do some organic stuff, right? What do you find has gave you the ability to just keep that going? Obviously you have it. What do you share? Like, do you share stories? Do you take, you know what I mean? Like, how do you just kind of keep that fresh? What are some of the ideas? I'm just curious. I forgot to ask.
I mostly like to share the print side. I mean, shipping can be kind of boring. I mean, maybe sometimes somebody ships something cool, but shipping can kind of be boring. So I like to share more of our print side. I just was thinking, if I was looking at a PostNet Instagram, if I stumbled upon it, what do I want to see? So I guess I like to share our print side, what we print, some behind the scenes stuff of the printing. So customers can see all of the different, we print anything big or small. So customers can see what we print and the quality of our print. So mostly print.
That makes sense. Should be visual, right? I think that was part of Instagram's whole point. So, I was just curious. Yeah. The way it rolled off your tongue there. Well, cool. Well, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate that you were on today and shared this with us. And also would just say to the audience, if you find this inspiring, maybe it's time for you to jump into the franchise world, or maybe PostNet. Take a look. But it sounds like a pretty cool business, I got to say. I mean, I feel like it, getting to know good people around you and your community. And yes, it can be lucrative, and there's room for family, which I think is beautiful. So it sounds like a great opportunity. And again, thank you, Caty, for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You got it.